check out ESPN Film's newly released 30 for 30 podcast. From the producers of our award-winning documentary series, this is an amazing collection of sports stories you need to hear to believe. Speaking of amazing, Delta Airlines and the Fly Delta app make your travel experience amazingly easy with real-time bag tracking, e-boarding, and passport scanning during check-in. And don't forget to download 30 for 30 podcast to fill your flight with stories that will keep you coming back for more.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. Hour number 2 of the Stephen A. Smith Show, here with you for the next hour over the airways of ESPN Radio, Sirius XM style, Channel 80. Number to call up as always is 866-729-3776. That's 866-SAY-ESPN. RJ Bell, resident handicap out of Vegas, founder for pregame.com, the official odds maker for the Associated Press. He'll be on with us in approximately 13 minutes or so. Before then, I'll get back to some of your phone calls about the New York Giants, about this slate of NFL games that are taking place this weekend. I'll get into a little NBA action a little bit later on in the show. But I ended the first hour alluding to Jimbo Fisher. Congratulations to him. He's going to be the next head coach at Texas A&M. He's resigned his position at Florida State. He's departing for Texas A&M to join the SEC, where he'll be able to go up against Nick Saban probably every year. It'll be interesting to see how those matchups unfold. But I also talked about the paucity of African Americans coaching Division 1A football. I think the number, out of 128 schools, the number now stands at 13. And sadly, that was a vast improvement compared to recent memory. I mean, years ago, just a few years back, they only had like 4 or 5. And in the interest of just recognition and being fair, allow me to read the names of the few coaches that there are, because God knows there ain't too many of them. Dino Babers for Syracuse. James Franklin doing an outstanding job at Penn State. Paul Haynes III coaching at Kent State in the Mid-American Conference. Mike Jenks for Bowling Green, also in the Mid-American Conference. So they've got 2 African-American coaches. Derek Mason at Vanderbilt in the SEC. Everybody knows how impossible it is for a Vanderbilt school. And as my former partner in crime, Skip Bayless, you know, he's from that school, called it the Harvard or the Yale of the South. Scotty Montgomery for East Carolina. David Shore doing an outstanding job at Stanford. Lovie Smith at Illinois now. Charlie Strong, University of South Florida right now, doing a good job this year. Willie Taggart at Oregon. Frank Wilson at USTA. And, of course, Everett Withers at Texas State. As we all know, Kevin Sumlin lost his job at Texas A&M, so that number may be down to 12. 12 out of 128. 12 out of 128 programs. Vast majority of African-American athletes. 12 out of 128. I mean, you just can't make this up. In 2017, in college no less, where you want young men to be influenced beyond the field of play, to direct them towards a better path. And that's not to say only black coaches do it. White coaches do it all the time. Good men, good people, come in all colors and all ethnicities. Nobody's trying to imply that. Matter of fact, I'm trying to accentuate that. Because if we do admit and we do acknowledge that it comes in all colors, all shapes and sizes, all ethnicities, that means there's no excuse for having 12 black coaches out of 128. I've said my piece. For now, anyway. Todd, you're live with Stephen A. Go ahead.
Hi, Stephen A. I was just called to make the point that 2 segments ago you talked to Herm Edwards, who is most likely going to be the head coach at Arizona State.
Yep.
And then the last segment, you said that nobody of African-American descent is even being considered.
Did I interview Herm Edwards? You know about Herm Edwards because I just interviewed him, right? Sir?
Thanks for taking the call.
Did I just interview him? I interviewed him, and I pointed it out. See, that punk of a caller just hung up because he knew I was about to get in his ass. Excuse my language, but it's necessary because that's that weak nonsense. So in other words, I interviewed Herm Edwards where he acknowledges it, but because of slippage of the tongue, I said no one, figuratively speaking, and he wanted to take it literally to expose the discrepancy, to gloss over the fact that 12 out of 128 college football coaches happen to be black. See, this is the problem. That's why progress is so hard to come by, because you have weak, no good, you know whats that just called up, like that punk of a caller that just hung up like a wuss. It's because of that. Progress will never be made because, see, they don't want you to address and highlight the facts. 128 programs. 128. And Herm Edwards don't even have the job yet, by the way. It hasn't officially been offered to him, so we don't know. We might turn around next week, and he still might be an analyst for ESPN. Where's that caller going to be then? That's the beauty of talk radio. When you're a real punk, you get to hide. You can give one name. You don't even give your last name. Nobody knows it's you. Mitch, you're live with Stephen A. Go ahead.
Hey, what's up, Stephen A? You'll feel better after this call, even though Edison can never beat Jamaica. Anyway, Tom Coughlin.
Stop right there. Everybody, man, I'm all over the country, bro. Edison is my high school that I went to in Queens. Jamaica's across the street. Why would you act like everybody knows that, Mitch?
That's a personal thing, bro.
You got to let the audience know. If you're going to say Edison, your high school can't be your rival, Jamaica. You got to let the audience know. Now, go ahead.
All right, man. All right. Yo, the best players on the Giants at the time, Tiki Barber, Michael Strahan, and the whole locker room hated Tom Coughlin. Hated him. And that was open in the media. Everybody knew it. It went so bad that Tiki Barber quit the team, didn't even clean out his locker. My question to you is, even though I have a question about Michael Strahan in a minute, you got to answer that, is why do you think that Ben McAdoo is going to be fired, knowing the tradition of the New York Giants not to fire a coach, even though he's lost the team? And I don't believe
let me answer that question. Because what you were talking about is the likability factor to structure, discipline, and a proven competent coach in Coughlin, who at Jacksonville prior to arriving in New York had a good and respectable reputation. In the case of Ben McAdoo, it's not just that the players don't like him or don't respect him, because they think he's incompetent. I've been told that you've had players tell him that to his face. That's your issue. They don't think he know what the hell he's doing.
Okay, 11-9 USA Today, 6 players came out on his side, and I'm talking about Landon Collins.
Stop. Your question was asked and answered. I don't give a damn about those 6 players. There's a whole bunch of others that feel otherwise. It's a locker room divided. He's done. There's no way Ben McAdoo is coming back. Now, what was your question? What was your other question? Because I got to get ready to go.
I know that. Michael Strahan, will you please take him to Barney's? Because the stuff he's doing to them on Fox News, he got him dressed like the Bay City Rollers, man. It's ridiculous. You can't watch the TV.
Michael Strahan is on Good Morning America for ABC, and he's on Fox NFL Sunday, not Fox News.
I meant to say Fox Sports. He's got Jimmy. He's got Howie dressing.
All right, Mitch. Have a nice day. Who the hell are you, the fashion police? Go someplace, man. 866-729-ESPN. That's 866-SAY-ESPN. Our resident handicap out of Vegas, one and only R.J. Bell. He's up next. Stick around. Don't touch that dial. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio.
Want to be a part of the show? It's Stephen A. Up weekdays from 1 to 3 Eastern at 866-729-3776.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I've never felt more alive.
Disclaimer. Geico cannot guarantee you will feel more alive. You either possess functioning respiratory and circulatory systems, or you do not, or you are a zombie. If you are indeed a brain-starved zombie and you would like to save money on car insurance, the Geico legal team applauds your excellent life choices, even in your shambling afterlife. But we strongly encourage you to visit geico.com or download the Geico app. Please stay a minimum of 500 feet away from our large and presumably delicious, delicious brains.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
16 minutes past hour number 2 back here in the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio. Always my honor and privilege to have my next guest, handicapping games Vegas Styles. He's the founder for pregame.com, who's the exclusive odds provider to the Associated Press. His Twitter handle is @RJInVegas. I'm talking about the one and only RJ Bell, who shows up on this show every Friday to preview the week of the NFL season. This is week 13. RJ Bell is live with us right now. What's going on, RJ? How you doing, buddy?
I never miss a week with you, Steven.
Appreciate it, buddy. Let's get right to it. Let's talk college football for a second here, because we've got Clemson and Oklahoma, Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Miami, chances to make the playoffs. Tell me, what is Vegas thinking on all of that?
Well, listen, there's a lot of teams that's win and in, right? SEC title game, win and in. ACC, same thing. Wisconsin wins, they're in. Oklahoma wins, they're in. If all that happens, specifically Wisconsin wins and Oklahoma wins, I see no real chance that Bama could make it. Where it gets interesting is if Ohio State, who's favored by about 6 points over Wisconsin, now it's the Buckeyes or Bama. My thought was before Tuesday, it was 50-50 in that spot. Now it looks like Bama would have a big advantage based on the committee putting the Buckeyes 8th.
What if Clemson loses? They'd have 2 losses on the season.
Yeah, but
or Auburn, they'd have 3.
I understand. Well, 3, you're out, right? But I think even with 2, if you lose your last game, I mean, look at Miami, right? You could make the case if Miami would have not gotten beat or lost to Pitt, and if they would have lost in the ACC championship game, they would have only had the 1 loss, but no one was talking about them making it. It's really hard to lose that last game and make it.
RJ Bell right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Let's get to these NFL games. Let's get right to it, man. Go one by one, right down the list. Baltimore Ravens, who've been playing better, by the way, favored by 3, hosting the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I lean towards the Ravens here. Here's why. Lions can only throw the ball. They don't run effectively at all, and the Ravens have one of the best pass defenses in the NFL. Now, listen, Flacco may be the worst quarterback right now in the NFL. I think low-scoring game, lean Ravens.
Hold on. Flacco? You mean not Jay Cutler?
Well, listen, let's use this stat. Yards per attempt. So every time you drop back, how many yards do you gain? Right now, number 32, the worst in the NFL, is Flacco. 4.6 yards every attempt. And by the way, number 31, the Browns, they're 5.0. So if Kaiser is better than you in a key stat, you're probably the worst.
Chicago Bears favored by 3, hosting the San Francisco 49ers.
I like the 49ers here. I mean, the Bears have been horrible as a favorite under John Fox. 6 times favored, like this week. 0-6 against the spread, and they lost all 6 of those games. So think about it, Stephen A. 6 times Vegas said, Bears, you're supposed to win, and all 6 times they lost the game. Garoppolo, I don't think he's going to make a huge difference, but I think the energy that comes with Garoppolo is going to make a difference for the 49ers. And let me be clear, I think Garoppolo long-term is going to be a big upgrade for the 49ers. I just think he hasn't been there long enough to learn the offense. So I still, though, lean 49ers.
Atlanta Falcons favored by 3, hosting the Minnesota Vikings.
I like the Vikings here. First, let's get it straight. The Falcons have been bet by the professionals here in Vegas more than any other team this season. It's a favorite of the wise guys, the Falcons, and it's because of the stats. Atlanta is number 1 net yards per play, which is a favorite of the wise guy, number 1 in the NFL. But I think the Vikings, quite frankly, are a slightly better team. We know that home field advantage is worth 3 points, so I'll take the better team getting 3 with the Vikings.
New England favored by 8.5 at Buffalo. Just no respect to the Buffalo Bills. 0.
Yeah, well, it is the Patriots, right? And what we know is that New England's defense, at least it seems like, is getting better. Last 7 opponents, they've held to 17 points or less. That's outstanding. But if you look at the yards per play defensively that they give up, number 31 in the NFL. So they're not giving up the points, but they're giving up the yards. That worries me. In the long run, I don't think that disconnect can hold, but it's been working, and if anyone can do it, it's Belichick. So I actually would lean. I don't like laying the lumber. You know that, Stephen A., but I would lean Pats here because I think the Bills, their defense looked good last week against Kansas City. I think that has more to do with Kansas City's offense. So I'm going to lean Pats laying the 8.5.
Broncos favored by just 1.5 at Miami.
Now check this out. Broncos have lost 7 straight. In the last 30 years of the NFL, they're only the 5th team to lose 7 straight and be favored on the road that 8th game. So, I mean, this is so...
That's all about Jay Cutler. That's all about Jay Cutler.
Yes, you're right. Cutler, Dolphins, one of the worst teams in the NFL, no doubt about it. Even though their record wasn't all that bad that long ago, Vegas didn't like him, and we saw that was probably true. I do like him here, though. I just think Denver is living on reputation. I think these teams are equally bad, and quite frankly, Miami at home should be favored by 2 or 3. We're getting 1.5, lean Dolphins.
Titans favored by 6.5, hosting the Houston Texans, obviously without Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, I like Houston here. I believe this. Tennessee is the most overrated team in the NFL. Look at it. They're number 3 seed right now if playoffs started today in the AFC. But if you look at the advanced metrics, DVOA, for example, which is one people like, Tennessee is number 22 in the NFL. The Houston pass defense is a big problem, but I don't think Mariota is going to be able to exploit that. He's regressing, and Houston has won 6 of 7 versus the Titans. I'll take 6.5 with the Texans.
Green Bay Packers favored by 2.5, hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm assuming everybody's thinking that Aaron Rodgers is coming back, because why the hell would Huntley be your quarterback and you're favored to win by 2.5 points?
Listen, if Rodgers was coming back, this line would be much, much higher. He's worth about 10 points. So think about this. Right now, Green Bay's 2.5. If Rodgers came back, Steven, they'd be about 12.5 in this game against Tampa Bay. He's that valuable. Here's my question. Is Jameis Winston an upgrade? Because if he's less than 100%, because he was just injured, and he's a little bit rusty, and you look at how well Fitzpatrick was playing, relatively well, I'm not sure he's an upgrade here. So, to me, I find that interesting, and that's one of the reasons, even with Hundley, Packers are favored at home.
Kansas City Chiefs favored by 3 at the New York Jets. Will Alex Smith stay in this game from start to finish?
Well, I hope so, because I'm betting the Jets, and I don't think Alex Smith right now is playing all that well. I really do like the Jets. Listen, Kansas City started off awesome. They were on top of all of the power ratings. Last 6 games, everyone knows 1-5 straight up, but they're also 1-5 against the spread. And in those games, they've lost against the spread by more than 50 points combined. So by definition, the spread is expectation. They've fallen short of expectation, Kansas City, the last 6 games by over 50 points. The defense hasn't been good at any point this season. If you look at the Kansas City offense, last 3 games, they're 20th in the NFL. I think the Jets getting points, real value. I've already bet the Jets.
Saints favored by 4.5, hosting Carolina. I'm surprised by that, considering the way Carolina has been playing.
Well, remember, Stephen A., the Saints have one of the 4 or 5 best home field advantages in the NFL from the Vegas perspective. Typically, as we always say, 3 points. For the Saints, probably 4 points. And when they're winning, so if the Saints have a winning record when they're at home, check out this trend. 17-3-1 against the spread last 21. 17-3-1, because when that dome gets rocking, it's a huge home field advantage. Carolina's won 4 straight, but I think they're a little bit overrated. Olsen came back, their tight end, last week, but he looks like he's far from 100%. So I actually like the Saints here, laying 4.5.
Chargers favored by 14, hosting the Cleveland Browns. I mean, when I see something like that, I just sit there and say, Hugh Jackson, it was nice seeing you as a head coach. I don't see how it's going to last much longer.
I think you're right. Last 48 games for the Browns, they're 4-44. And they've only,
straight up.
Yeah, straight up. They've only covered about a third of those games during that time. And we've got history here. The Chargers are the first team since 2000 with a losing record in December to be favored by more than 13 points. So why December? It's because if you have a losing record this late in the season, it's pretty meaningful. And to be favored by 2 touchdowns, it really shows you, one, there's a lot of love for the Chargers as kind of a sneaky good team. But number 2, the Browns are the Browns. I'm staying away from this game because I can't bet the Browns, and this is just too much to be laying with a losing team. And that's what the Chargers are. As Parcells would say, that's what the record says they are.
Let's go a little quick on some of these last few games. Rams favored by 7 at Arizona.
To me, I don't want to bet against this Rams team because I think they have great momentum, but I don't want to lay 7 on the road because it's a young team that's not used to it, so I'm passing the game.
Raiders favored by 9, hosting the Eli Manning-less New York Giants, who now have Geno Smith.
Now, listen, you could say Manning was one of the worst quarterbacks in the league this year, and I think that's true, but Vegas considers Geno Smith to be a 2.5-point downgrade, so even worse than Manning. And as soon as it was announced that Manning was out, the line went up for the Raiders, and I actually lean Raiders here because not only do I think it's Geno Smith is a problem, I think the energy and focus of the Giants because of this controversy this week is in question. Lean Raiders.
Philadelphia Eagles favored by 5.5 at Seattle. Explain that one.
Well, the Eagles have been dominant. I mean, if you look at it, they've won 9 straight. They've won 4 straight by 20-plus points. That's only the 9th team in the last 30 years to win 4 straight NFL games in the same season by 20-plus points. But I like Seattle here. This is the biggest underdog, getting 5.5 of any home game in Russell Wilson's career. And Seattle gets better as the year goes on. I know they're a little banged up, or maybe more than a little. But check this out. Seattle in December, last 6 seasons, 20-6 straight up, 25-1 against the spread. I like Seattle.
Steelers, last one. Steelers favored by 5 at Cincinnati.
All right, couple things point to Pittsburgh here. One, when Pittsburgh plays in Cincinnati, 15-2 straight up. On the road now, 15-2 straight up, 14-3 against the spread. So they're comfortable with that short trip. Number 2, Andy Dalton in primetime in his career, 5-12 straight up, with a passer rating of 78. In all other games, he's over 90. So they do drop off under the lights. That said, excuse me, I don't like Pittsburgh just because I think since he's playing a little better, I'm going to pass this one.
RJ Bell, founder for pregame.com, the official odds maker for the Associated Press. His Twitter handle is at RJ in Vegas. He's right here live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Appreciate you, buddy. Enjoy week 13 of the NFL season. Talk to you next week.
Thank you.
Back to your calls in a minute. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it! Back to the phones we go at 866-729-3776. By the way, I watched Tiger a little bit yesterday. I must admit, I was shocked at how good he looked. Tiger Woods, he still got to work on his short game, no doubt. A 3 under 69 is not bad. He was tied for 8th. I got it. But that swing of his, that follow through, is fluid and as perfect as it looked. I haven't seen Tiger swing like that since the last time he won a major, which is back in 2008. Haven't seen it. And I got news for you. It was really, really good to see. Now, I'm still in the mindset that, you got to give it up at some point. The flip side to it is that if he's strong enough to withstand the skepticism, the criticism or whatever, listen, here's the thing that Tiger needs to get. I don't think anybody. I think Tiger is in rarefied air right now. You know why, ladies and gentlemen? I don't think anybody's rooting against him. I legitimately believe no one is rooting against Tiger. Do y'all realize what Tiger means to us? How beautiful it would be for him to be back on the scene as a major champion, capturing the majors, chasing Jack Nicklaus' all-time record of 18 majors? Do you know what it would be like if Tiger started winning again? What that would do, not just for not just for golf, but the world of sports. Golfing is a niche sport. The avid lovers follow it. Everybody else don't give a damn. Everyone's going to watch Tiger. Everybody's going to watch Tiger. I wish him luck. I don't believe he can do it because I believe that when you've aged and on top of it all, you're going up against a bunch of young lions who are no longer intimidated by you. I just find it hard to believe that he can overcome all of that and end up, winning. I just find it hard to believe. I really, really find it hard to believe. But I would tell you that even though I do find it hard to believe, I would tell you that I'm rooting for him. I really, really am. Back to the calls we go. Slew of NFL games to talk about. Let's go to David. You're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Stephen A., what's going on, brother? It's good to hear your voice again on the phone. I am the only person that I've ever heard you say on air, whenever I call, put me through. I appreciate that.
No problem. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I got a couple of points. You called the Dallas Cowboy fans disgusting on First Take about a month ago, and I've been trying to get in touch with you ever since. I am not disgusting. I'm a boss. Another thing I want you to know that you need to probably record what I'm finna say next. You are a damn good actor. You know that? I've seen a couple of clips of you on watching
General Hospital? General Hospital?
Yeah, man. It's your time, Steven. It's your time, man. You are a damn good actor, man. You look right in the other actor's eyes. You don't pay no attention to the camera. It's your time in that acting game, man. You might want to
listen. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I can't take none of that credit. Maurice Bernard, who plays Sonny Corinthos, the star of General Hospital, him and Laura Wright, who plays Carly, and I mean that whole staff. They're great, man. They teach me this stuff. I follow, especially Maurice Bernard. I just do what he tells me to do, man. I wish I could take credit for it. I wish I was a damn good actor, but I mean, I just been watching the soap for 40 years. I know him, and I know what he tells me, what he needs me to do. I couldn't have had a better teacher. Plus, I'm great friends with Eric Braeden, who plays Victor Newman on Young and the Restless as well. So the two biggest soap opera stars in America and arguably American history are two of my friends that teach me everything I know about it. So I got to give them credit. I can't take anything from them.
Well, you did damn good for the little bit that I seen. My last point is that you are the topic of conversation in the barbershop, and you know our conversation in the barbershop are the most important conversation on the planet. When I tell people that I'm a fan of yours, even though you hate the Cowboy fans and stuff like that, they get on me. But I'll be like, man, Stephen A. is the leading voice for us on the TV, on the radio, and I just want to say I appreciate you, and I love you for what you're doing, and keep up the good work, man. I'm going to always be a fan, and I'm going to always listen to you for forever.
Thank you, bro.
As long as I can hear your voice.
I appreciate that. And listen, man, don't be complimenting me too much because I don't want to return the favor. I got love for you, bro, but I don't want the world to know that because you're a Cowboys fan. I got to hide the fact that I got love for you, David. I got to hide it. I can't let everybody know that I actually like a Cowboy fan. So you got to go. I got to hang up on you now. I can't give you that kind of love because you love the Cowboys. I can't let people know that. But I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much in all seriousness. Muhammad, you're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, man.
Hey, Stephen A. I got a question and a quick point. The question is, why is the AFC so anemic, and why is the NFC so dynamic? From 2000 Super Bowl appearances, this is the AFC. The Ravens 2 times, Patriots 7 times, Steelers 3 times, Colts 2 times.
Well, I think what you're looking at. I think what you're looking at is the dominance of a couple of teams, but primarily the Patriots. I think that to answer the question directly, it's not that the AFC conference is inferior to the NFC. It's that the Patriots are so superior to everybody else. The longevity that they've established because of Tom Brady's presence with Bill Parcells, that's been, that's been a point that can't be eclipsed. for the most part, and that's what the issue is. There's nobody in the NFC that has that combination of coach, quarterback. Like in Green Bay, I like Mike McCarthy. He's no Bill Belichick. But I think that Aaron Rodgers is every bit as a bad man as Tom Brady, if not more so. Okay? The Sean Paytons and the Drew Brees, you expected that to materialize into more than one Super Bowl championship, but it didn't happen. Those are the kind of things that you got to think about. Those are the answers to your questions.
And second point, I don't think the Steelers have a chance against the Patriots this year
I think they have a chance.
Otherwise.
I think if Joe Hayden, well, first of all, they have to prove it. You're right. If Joe Hayden could come back healthy, I think they have a chance, but they'll still be the underdog. New England would still be the favorite. I just think that the Steelers' defense is better than it's been in recent years, and as a result, with that high-powered offense, you want to give them a chance. But they're still not a team that should be favored over the Patriots. There's no doubt about that. Got to run. 866-SAY-ESPN. That's 866-729-3776. Your calls to close out the show in a minute. You're listening live to Stephen A. on ESPN Radio.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it! Back to the phones we go before we get on out of here. Only got a few minutes left to take your calls at the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio at 866-SAY-ESPN. Make your points quick and succinct, or I will do it for you. Let's go to Kenny in Jersey. You're live with Stephen A. What's up?
How you doing, Steven?
All right, go ahead, buddy.
Good. I just want to talk about the Jets. Here's what I think McCagnon should do this offseason. He's got a gold line. He's got $90 million. Throw as much money, max contract at Le'Veon Bell. He's a free agent this year. Try and sign him. Use the rest of the money. Try and fix up the holes in the offensive line. And then I think we try and draft Baker Mayfield. I like John Morton as an offensive coordinator.
You like Baker Mayfield as opposed to Rosen?
I don't think we're going to get Rosen. I think he's going to go before we get a pick.
Baker Mayfield. I don't. You know what? I got to admit to you, Kenny. The Johnny Manziel lookalike scares me.
Yeah,
he scares me.
I like to hope he's more Drew Brees than Johnny Manziel.
Okay, all right. Well, Drew Brees is class personified. We can't accuse Baker Mayfield of being that right now, can we?
I think he's got the attitude to bring you to New York, though.
Okay, you might have a point. I can't say you're wrong. I just don't know. I'm scared of that. Mike in Brooklyn, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Hey, Stephen A.
Yeah.
Two quick points. One about the Giants. I seen it when they first put McAdoo as the head coach. He's a product of Aaron Rodgers. The guy was never qualified to be a head coach.
Okay.
He was a quarterback's coach back in Green Bay.
No
and
argument
he
here.
came to the Giants as an offensive coordinator.
No argument here. Go ahead.
I think they do that. I'm a Cowboys fan, by the way. Big
No.
mistake by pushing Conklin out. Big mistake.
Yeah,
now
I
to
agree.
My Cowboys. The Cowboys still very much into the wild card hunt. Out of all the teams left, they have. Listen. Out of all the teams left, they have one team over 500. I'm not even going to count Philly because they're going to have it locked up by next week, the division. So they're not even going to be able to play Week 17. So it's going to be a reversal for the Cowboys this year to get that win in Week 17 that they gave to the Eagles last year.
Mm-hmm.
If the Cowboys can win out, do you think they can make the wild card?
No. Because, listen, New Orleans is probably going to win the South. What about Carolina? What about, Atlanta? You've got the Rams in the West. What about Seattle?
Seattle, listen.
I'm saying you got three teams ahead of you. That's my only point. I'm saying you got three teams ahead of you. I don't think you'll end up with a better record than any of those three teams. That's my issue. Because I think the Cowboys are going to lose at least one more game. You ain't getting any better than 9-7.
Well, you look at it. The only team that you could say that we can lose to is Seattle, but we're playing Seattle in Dallas, and with no Legion of Boom. You're going to play with Earl Thomas on crutches, basically.
You're probably right. But the Dallas Cowboys will find a way to mess it up. They always do. Look at their situation now.
Hey,
like I told y'all.
I've been a big fan of you for years.
I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you. Vic, you're live with Stephen A. Go.
Hey, Stephen. So I'm talking about the black college coaches and the lack thereof in D1. And it's like this, bro. For they're not going to let us drive the Bentley, so to speak. It's a cash cow. It's about the bottom. It's not about the student athlete. You know that. I know that. Everybody knows that.
Okay.
It's about who's going to give them the best opportunity in their eyes to run that cash cow, to drive that Bentley, right? That's what it's all about. And the thing about it, Stephen A., is how much longer are they going to give Shaka, right? I know we're talking about college football.
Yeah, and that college basketball, Shaka Smart at Texas, yeah? Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's different. That's different. There's black coaches in college basketball now. And you can't deny that.
I can't deny it, but what my point is, though, for those big schools like Texas and Oklahoma and Ohio State and all these schools, it's about the cash cow. It's about who they want,
Well, Vic, let's move the conversation forward because I got to get ready to get on out of here. Let me say this to you, Vic. When I go to work every day, what I try to teach folks, kids and everybody else, and now I try to emphasize, particularly the African Americans, go to work every day with two goals in mind. How do I make my boss's money, and how do I get some of it? Because in the end, if we're acknowledging that it's about the cash cow, then you need to be the cow that brings the cash. And once you do that, it's harder to knock you off that pedestal.
Good. And Stephen A., let me say this real quick before I know you
only got 10 seconds. Go.
Yeah. What you do every day has made me a better man, a better husband, and a better father. And I appreciate everything you do, sir. Please keep it up.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I wish I could say the same for myself. I'm not a husband. I think I'm a great dad, but I could still improve. Got a long ways to go. I'll work on it this weekend while I'm watching some football. Hope y'all do the same. Peace and love. Talk to you Monday.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Channel 80 and the ESPN app.